Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Now on WRAL, a deputy threatened with a knife. That's what the Harnett County Sheriff says led to one of his men shooting a suspect.
And we still have some little light rain and drizzle across our area. It is on its way out. I'll show you when we'll finally see some sunshine.
And the U.S. freeze on foreign aid leads to dozens of temporary layoffs in Research Triangle Park when those employees could be back to work. Welcome you in here straight up noontime on your Thursday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. After a cold, wet morning, gray skies remain for the afternoon with cool temperatures.
Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with a look at how much rain we saw and when sunshine might make a return here, Elizabeth.
I know people are excited about seeing a little bit of sunshine, so we're going to get to that in a minute. Wanted to start with what's happening right now. Most of the rain has moved out, but we do have some heavy drizzle that's happening around the triangle. And right here, just a little patch of rain. What is happening right here with this patch of rain as we have a cold front that's moving through. Behind this front, we're seeing some colder air move through. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk more about temperatures, but our temperature climbed into the 50s and we're back into the 40s behind this front. So kind of an unusual pattern going on. This is a look at downtown Raleigh. You see the heavy drizzle that's showing up here on the camera lens as we take a look past the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Right now it is 47 degrees, but we've already been into the 50s at one point this afternoon. Okay, we've seen, this is the fourth day in a row that we've seen some rain. How much have we totaled up? It's been some pockets of about 1.5 inches where you're seeing the purple. The blue is going to be closer to 1 inch around Sanford, 1 inch in Rocky Mount, about 3/4 of an inch in Goldsboro. It's been a little lighter to the south, so under 1/2 inch there in Fayetteville. Tomorrow will be dry and we will clear tonight. We will see some sunshine for Valentine's Day, but we're back at it Saturday and Sunday with a 60 and then a 90% chance of rain. How much more are we likely to see? Could be as much as another 3/4 of an inch Saturday and Sunday. So we're not completely done with this pattern, but at least we'll have some sunshine tomorrow. It is going to be chilly though. I'll show you coming up.
Power lines were stretched across Globe Road at Aviation Parkway this morning, leaving more than 2,600 customers without power right near RDU. Power was restored at Briar Creek Elementary School, which lost power earlier this morning. Fire officials told WRAL News that the power lines came down off a 50-foot tower in a wooded area off the road. Raleigh officers have been on the scene there conducting traffic control. Fire officials said it's unclear what caused the lines to come down.
A man is dead after being shot by a Harnett County deputy Wednesday afternoon. That's according to the Harnett County Sheriff's Office. Family members identified the man as 40-year-old Leo Reeves. Authorities have also released the name of the deputy involved in the shooting. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan is on the scene where it happened in Lillington. Chelsea.
This is a terrible situation, Renee. We just got done speaking to the ex-wife of Leo Reeves. He leaves behind 2 children. We understand yesterday that he was shot in the chest at this home here on Neals Creek Road. We do know that he was having a mental episode, a breakdown. He had been known to use alcohol and drugs after the passing of his mother. Just heartbreaking to hear their thoughts. They believe that excessive force was used, but now we know from Harnett County Sheriff's Office, they say that 40-year-old Leo Reeves had a knife and he was threatening the 911 caller in his home, which we understand was his current girlfriend. The Sheriff's Office says Deputy Calvin Johnson was dispatched and responded to the call. When Deputy Johnson arrived here, Reeves pulled out a knife, they say, and after multiple attempts to de-escalate the deadly force situation, Deputy Johnson fired his gun at the suspect in an attempt to stop him from advancing towards him with his knife. Now, deputies did perform medical treatment until EMS arrived, but Reeves died at the hospital. We can see just from first glance here as we're staying back to give this family privacy, I can count about 4 different bullet holes in the siding of this home. Now, we should mention Deputy Johnson, he's 40 years old. He's been with the Sheriff's Office just about 6-7 months, not that long, but he's got about a decade of previous law enforcement experience ahead of that. So right now the SBI has been brought in to investigate. That's standard protocol. And of course, that deputy right now is on administrative leave with pay. That too is standard protocol. We should mention we will have an interview with the ex-wife of Leo Reeves, and we'll bring that to you online in our later newscasts. But for now, we're live in Harnett County. Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center following some breaking news out of Washington, D.C. The Senate has confirmed RFK Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary. Kennedy has faced a lot of scrutiny over his controversial views on vaccines and public health policy. The 52-48 vote was largely along party lines. Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, though, he opposed the nomination. Kennedy will now serve as one of the nation's leading public health officials.
RTI International, headquartered in RTP, announced it is temporarily laying off its staff in the U.S. That's 226 employees, 61 of them in North Carolina. The nonprofit Research Institute says the layoffs are due to the ongoing pause on U.S. foreign assistance. It's unclear when the positions will return. RTI International was founded in 1958 as Research Triangle Park's anchor tenant. The nonprofit works globally to improve the human condition. Earlier this week, WRAL News reported President Donald Trump's freeze on foreign aid is putting thousands of jobs at risk across the country and in the Triangle. FH1 360, a Durham-based nonprofit that advances equity, health, and well-being across 60 countries, furloughed 36% of its U.S. staff.
A key economic report is out today following yesterday's hotter than expected consumer price index report. The producer price index report shows wholesale prices jumped 0.4 of 1 percentage point in January, higher than what analysts expected by a little bit. The higher than expected increase, though, also indicates inflation continues to weigh heavily on the economy. The PPI measures the changes in costs businesses have to pay to suppliers. That is then passed on to us, the consumer. The Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell told a congressional hearing this week the Fed is determined to reduce inflation to the 2% target right there. Take a look at stocks this noon just to see how they are responding. It was a quiet morning, pretty listless. Now it's jumped just a bit at noon here, as you see. Dow Jones Industrial averaging up 115 points right now. Major indices just slightly up today.
People are coming to Wake County and spending record amounts of money here. That's according to a new report out this morning tracking tourism in Wake County. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now with the numbers. Noah, the group Visit Raleigh reports several positive trends.
Renee, business is booming here. Taxes collected for hotel and lodging are up. Prepared food and beverage tax also up. All of that combined produced the highest tax collections on record in 2024. We're talking a total here of nearly $90 million. Visit Raleigh and the Greater Raleigh Sports Alliance teamed up to host more than 400 events, tournaments, and conferences, as well as festivals last year. Nearly 665,000 people total came in for those, and they found places to stay. Hotel occupancy was up 70%. That outpaces the state average of 62% and even the national average of 63%. Some of the biggest events for the final part of the year included Visit Raleigh's Showcase Series and the 2024 NCAA College Cups for both the men and the women. We have a closer look at the numbers and how they compare to previous years. That's over on WRAL.com.
Wake County leaders also want to hear from you about housing through an online survey. Tell county leaders about your experience with housing access, barriers to safe and affordable housing in your community, and fair housing protections. Feedback will be used to help the county set housing goals for the next 5 years. The online survey closes on Saturday.
The city of Raleigh wants to hear what you're looking for in a new police chief. Chief Estella Patterson is retiring next month. People can fill out the survey online. It asks what qualifications and experience they think is important in a police chief. You can also suggest questions for the interview process. The deadline to fill out the survey is February 22nd. The city also announced people will have a chance to meet the finalists for the job. There will be a moderated discussion Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. That event will be at the Martin Marietta Center for Performing Arts.
Protesters who slammed a downtown Raleigh storefront as a puppy mill have a new goal. They want city council to ban the retail sale of dogs and cats. Josh Baldwin is an organizer with the NC Animal Advocates United. It's picketing Petopia recently. The new proposal from the group is modeled on an ordinance passed in North Myrtle Beach in 2019. It bans the retail sale of dogs and cats, but provides exceptions for shelters and rescues with adoption fees. The group took its plea to City Council during the evening public comment session yesterday.
And yet we have some of these stores that make their money off of breeding new dogs that typically come from puppy mills and selling them for thousands and thousands of dollars to mostly people that don't understand like where they're getting their dogs from.
And Baldwin admits his group faces a tough battle in getting an ordinance passed in Raleigh, in part because North Carolina municipalities are given very little leeway in these matters by the state legislature. Baldwin says in the meantime, NC Animal Advocates United plans to continue pressing the city to take action in any way they can.
A deliberate attack. That's what investigators are calling the incident where a car plowed into a group of demonstrators in Germany. We have new information about the victims coming up.
Plus, the need for more speed. Some state lawmakers push to raise the speed limit in our interstates. How high it could go.
And later, a new poll reveals what North Carolinians think about President Trump's job performance so far.
"28 people are injured, including 2 critically, and this is after a car plowed into a group of demonstrators in Munich, Germany, and some of the victims are children. Officials have confirmed this was an attack and that they have detained the driver, who is not considered a further threat. The suspect is believed to be a 24-year-old asylum seeker from Afghanistan. The incident occurred near the location where world leaders were set to meet for the Munich Security Conference tomorrow. Top diplomats, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, are expected to attend.
A military fighter jet carrying 2 service members on board crashed into the San Diego Bay yesterday. Thankfully, both pilots were able to walk away. This is the video of the plane going down before the pilots ejected before the plane crashed into the water. Now, the Coast Guard says the 2 were in the water for only a minute before a crew in a fishing boat picked them up. That boat had just set out for its daily fishing tour when passengers noticed the jet. Passengers on the fishing boat say the crew wasted no time reaching the pilots.
I feel like if we would have left the dock a couple minutes sooner, we could have been right under it. It could have been on us. So I do feel pretty blessed that we made it out of there and we all can walk away and tell the story.
Both service members were conscious when they were pulled out of the water. No specific word on their injuries, but the military says they are in stable condition. There's no word yet on what caused the crash.
Today marks 2 years since the mass shooting at Michigan State University, and now a former student who witnessed that tragedy is suing the school. The $50 million lawsuit claims the university ignored security concerns months before the incident. Former student Justin Bowman was in the classroom where the shooting began in 2023. The lawsuit claims he suffered emotional distress and trauma from witnessing the death of his classmates. 3 students were killed and 5 others were injured. Michigan State has not commented on the lawsuit.
Social media company X agreed to pay about $10 million to settle a lawsuit from President Trump. NBC News confirmed the settlement involves a payment of about $10 million by X, which is now owned by Trump ally Elon Musk. Trump sued X back when it was known as Twitter in 2021. It's then CEO Jack Dorsey who took down Trump's account following the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. Twitter cited the risk of Trump inciting further violence as part of an effort to remain in the White House. Trump claimed Twitter violated his First Amendment right to free speech. Speaking to the World Government Summit in Dubai, Elon Musk said that the U.S. needs to delete entire agencies from the federal government.
We do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like if leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back. Delete entire agencies.
Musk also described a more isolationist approach to foreign policy in President Trump's administration, while making multiple references to thermonuclear warfare and the possible dangers of artificial intelligence.
Snow is blanketing parts of Chicago. Nearly 2 inches of snow was reported in areas throughout the city late Wednesday. Steady snow fell throughout most of the day and gradually tapered off around 6 p.m. A second system is expected in that area on Friday that could dump even more snow on them.
A new bill proposes to raise the speed limit on North Carolina interstates. The bill would raise the maximum speed limit to 75 miles per hour. That's up from the current 70 miles per hour. The DOT would set the new speed limit after conducting an engineering and traffic investigation. The bill would also change several speeding penalties. So that brings us to our live poll. Today we are asking, are you in favor of raising the speed limit to 75 miles per hour on our interstates? And so far, 75% of you say no. Share your voice right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or head to WRAL.com/yourvoice, and we'll share some other results before the end of this newscast.
Raising the speed limit has a couple of speed bumps so far anyway, as far as how folks are weighing in on it.
Well, people are flying by anyway. They're driving 80 and 90. We all see it. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We certainly hope that they are going below the speed limit when conditions are wet, like right now.
Ooh, I tell you, I feel like it's already so scary out there. I hope that doesn't happen. You know, especially on a day like today, people just tend to keep on driving at whatever speed they want to. But the visibility has really started to drop. Even though the rain is moving out, we're seeing just a lot of low cloud cover out there. It doesn't look like we're going to clear anytime soon. There's one little patch of some drizzle that's moving past Rocky Mount up towards Scotland Neck. We still have a lot of lingering cloud cover and drizzle around the Triangle area right now, so that's what you're going to run into. This is our high-resolution satellite, and it shows where the clouds are. We're starting to clear across parts of the Piedmont and the foothills and the mountains, but from Charlotte to Greensboro and eastward, we are still heavily socked in with the clouds, and we will be for much of the day. Our cold front is sliding eastward. We're just not clearing out very quickly behind it. Eventually we will, but it may not happen before we hit sunset tonight. So we're going to be stuck with the clouds for the rest of the day today. And right now, a lot of heavy drizzle as the front's coming through. No more technical rain really that's coming through, but definitely just a lot of drizzle out there. Once we get to 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, we do start to clear, and that will affect our overnight lows tonight. And I'll show you how coming up. This is kind of a look at North Hills. There's so much water on the camera lens, so much drizzle and low cloud cover that you could barely see the buildings out there. 48 is our current temperature. Now, we did jump on up into the 50s before the front came in, but now that the front is through, we probably won't get much warmer. We're going to hold it upper 40s to around 50, and then as our skies clear, that will allow our temperatures to drop even farther. We did have some warm air surge up toward the Triangle area, but we never did get very warm. 62 right now in Fayetteville, 65 in Clinton, and 63 in Goldsboro. So that's where the warm air made it to, but now the cold front's coming through, and all those temperatures will be dropping in the next few hours. It's 52 in Southern Pines, but 62 in Fayetteville. This is where the cold front has passed by, and it will continue to move east, dropping those temperatures too. So your commute planner, as we get through the rest of the day, if you're going to be out this afternoon, upper 40s to right around 50 degrees, and then we'll see the temperatures dropping into the 30s by the time we get to midnight. We'll start to see the skies clearing, and it will be a cold start tomorrow morning. I mean, it was drizzly and chilly this morning, but our temperatures were upper 30s to around 40. We'll be about 10 degrees colder than that, even 15 in some places, 25 Roxborough, 29 Rocky Mount, 30 in Fayetteville. These are the temperatures that we'll see as you walk out the door tomorrow morning. We are looking at sunshine. Once we clear tonight, it'll be a nice bright day, but behind this front, again, it is going to stay chilly. Our high temperature only around 49, but you know, the sunshine always makes it feel a little better. The beginning of the newscast, we talked about the potential for more rain on Saturday and Sunday. I'll walk you through the timeline for that. After we see a warm up on Sunday of 67, we are back to some really chilly temperatures as we get into next week.
Out with the old, in with the new. The city of Durham is asking for your input on how to better the Durham Athletic Park. Coming up at 4, how the property's future could better the community.
And at 5 o'clock, WRAL's Lena Tillett sits down with the new Secretary for the State Department of Health and Human Services, what he is saying about his new role. And still ahead this noon, love is in the air, but so are scams.
Before you swipe right, a warning from law enforcement about the romance scams surging this Valentine's Day.
And later, the high-tech tool invented by a teenager that's helping crews out west battle wildfires.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center following some breaking sports news. Aaron Rodgers will not be returning to the Jets as quarterback for next season. I don't think many people are that surprised at this. His 2 seasons with the team were tumultuous at best. But Rodgers was made aware of the decision in a meeting last week with their head coach and their general manager. They thanked him for leadership, passion, and dedication that he brought to the organization. But after the Jets' final game of the season back in January, Rodgers said that he would be okay with whatever decision the team made about his future.
And while he looks for someone to have him, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. But if you're searching for love online, you want to watch out.
This is the time of year that dating scams tend to spike. Jen Sullivan explains some easy ways to protect yourself.
Online dating is now the most popular way people meet romantic partners, according to a recent Stanford study. But finding love on the internet can open the door to romance scams. It's where someone sets up a fake profile, gains the victim's trust, and then manipulates them into sending money.
The catfishers always give you instructions how to send them the money.
Jane Mason is a retired FBI agent. She now works with victims and says these types of scams are particularly crushing.
You've lost, your some self-pride, your respect. Maybe you were in love and now you don't have that love relationship anymore. And it's very difficult between your actual loss and then your personal loss.
Nearly 65,000 people reported romance scams in 2023, according to the Federal Trade Commission, with total losses amounting to $1.14 billion. So how can you protect yourself?
One easy step you can do is reverse image search. I'm going to use one of my photos to demonstrate how this works. We're going to pull up Google. In the search bar, you'll notice there's a microphone button and a camera button. We're going to click the camera button, and we're going to upload a photo. You'll notice my picture shows up, and other photos as well. But the key is they all show my name, Jen Sullivan. A scammer's photo would show up, but different names would be listed. That's a red flag.
Fraud is about trust.
Christopher Delzato works in the financial crime section of the FBI. He says be aware if the person wants to leave the dating app to communicate directly, if the person doesn't want to meet in person. Delzato also says these crimes are particularly hard to prosecute because these scammers are often overseas.
Whether it be through our 55 field offices domestically or our reach internationally and all the private sector partnerships and law enforcement contacts we have globally, we try to connect the dots.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Now, if you or someone you know believes they've been a victim, you can report it to the FBI. And the best way to do that is by visiting ic3.gov. That's the Internet Crime Complaint Center.
It'll be getting some use. It always does. There's a new poll out focusing on Donald Trump's approval numbers in North Carolina. We'll show you what it reveals when we come back.
And a new measles outbreak in the U.S., where it's happening and what's behind it.
And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
A suspected member of a Venezuelan gang was arrested here in Raleigh after being on the run for about 3 years. Ricardo Granadillo Padilla was arrested for federal charges for illegally entering the U.S. in 2022.
Authorities also named him as a suspect in a mass shooting in Chicago. And WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live outside the Wake County Detention Center right now where he's being held. And Destiny, what have you been able to find out about Granadillo Padilla?
Well, as you mentioned, we know that Granadillo is still being held here at the Wake County Detention Center. His name is still listed on the Wake County Sheriff's inmate search page. So let me show you and tell you what we have been able to learn so far. According to ICE agents, Granadillo illegally entered the U.S. near El Paso in 2022. He was detained at the border, then released due to time and custody restraints at the holding facility in McAllen, Texas. He then missed an immigration hearing in September of last year. When ICE agents found him this weekend, they found a handgun, ammo, and 10 other people from Venezuela who were here illegally. They say Granadillo is a suspected member of the Tren Aragua gang. Authorities also believe he was involved in a mass shooting in Chicago. So now we're going through reports in Chicago to see if we can pin down which shooting they believe that he's involved in. We're also working to learn more about his arrest here in North Carolina. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Wake County.
A new poll today from Meredith College shows President Donald Trump with his highest approval rating in North Carolina since 2018.
But the state is still deeply divided. And WRAL state government reporter Paul Spade joins us now here in studio. Break it all down for us, Paul.
Well, the poll surveyed 703 likely voters in North Carolina over the course of a week, finding that voters are almost evenly divided on the beginning of Trump's second term. Now, 47% of voters said they approve or strongly approve of the job the president is doing. 49% they said they disapprove or strongly disapprove of his job performance. That remaining 4% says they're still not sure what they think. As you might expect, people are generally divided along party lines. 41% said of Republicans say they approve of the job Trump is doing, while 90% of Democrats say they disapprove. Unaffiliated voters, though, they're a little more evenly divided, with 53% saying they disapprove. When asked what each party is better at, respondents said they think Republicans are generally better at managing the economy and the government. Now, at the same time, they said Democrats care more about their needs. Now, when it comes to ethics, voters don't have much confidence in either major party. 31% said Democrats are more likely to govern in an honest way, while the number was 28% for Republicans, and 27% said neither party does that well. Now, coming up later this afternoon, we'll show you what's behind the increase in the president's approval ratings.
All right, Paul certainly had it at deeply divided. I see it there. Thank you. Wake teachers are calling on the county to help fill funding gaps for facility and building repairs. They rallied at Raleigh Moravian Church yesterday, but cameras were not allowed inside. The group tells WRAL they want county commissioners to put a school infrastructure bond on the ballot for the district's aging schools.
Our county-by-county coverage takes us to Edgecombe, Cumberland, and Chatham counties. As flu cases and deaths increase, the Edgecombe County Health Department wants to remind people that flu shots are available right now. Appointments and walk-ins are welcome. Shots are available at the Tarboro location on East Main Street Monday through Friday, and on Tuesdays at the Atlantic Avenue location in Rocky Mount. Gulfview Road and Rockfish Road in the town of Hope Mills will be widened to 4 lanes with new roundabouts to help ease traffic congestion. Construction is expected to begin this spring. It will be hopes to be completed by 2028. Drivers should stay alert and use caution in the area as traffic will shift in phases to keep roads open. For questions, you can contact the North Carolina Department of Transportation. There's a new public art sculpture in downtown Pittsboro. The Windstone sculpture, created by artist Phil Hathcock, is now on display just off the northwest quadrant of the traffic circle. Pittsboro Mayor Kyle Shipp calls public art, quote, an essential force in creating inclusive, vibrant communities. The installation is part of ongoing efforts to bring more art into the town's public spaces.
Online DMV services and self-service kiosks will not be available for an extended period of time on Saturday. It's due to a planned outage. It is expected to start at midnight and last through 7 that night. In addition to online services and kiosks being unavailable, access to state DMV systems used by partners and vendors will also be down. So if you're trying to get your car inspected, Saturday's not the day to do it.
Tonight, you have the opportunity to share your recommendations for the future of Durham Parks. Durham Parks and Recreation is creating a plan they hope recognizes the needs of the community. And you can attend a public meeting tonight at the Durham Armory. It's happening from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Free childcare and refreshments are available. And you can park over at the Durham Center parking garage. Staff will validate your parking. He started in 5th grade, and now his wildfire detection system is being put to the test.
This is amazing. Still ahead, how one teen is using AI to help firefighters stay ahead of the flames.
Also, women are speaking up about their doctor preference, why heart health is a significant issue. One California teenager's invention is the latest tool being used by firefighters. Ryan Ottery created an AI-driven early wildfire detection system designed to alert firefighters before the flames are spotted by humans. The 17-year-old put his technology to work in Irvine's Quail Hill open space, not far from the flashpoint of the destructive 1993 Laguna Beach fire. It's an invention he's worked on since the 5th grade.
So it would take a picture of that fire, it would detect it from its infrared and maybe even its smoke as well, and then it would instantly send that information and as an email, text, or push notification to, for example, it might be directed towards the Orange County Fire Authority's phones.
Honorary partnered with the Irvine Ranch Conservancy, which provided $250,000 in funding. More detectors will be deployed soon with the goal of 25 installed before the end of the year. He's just 17.
Probably not the last scholarship he sees. Love is in the air, and so is high spending as couples prepare to celebrate Valentine's Day. A new survey from Coupon Follow found Americans in relationships plan to spend an average of $155 on their celebrations this year. Gen Z is leading the way, budgeting an average of $235 for the holiday. The survey also found that men are twice as likely as women to feel pressure to spend more on Valentine's Day. Vouch. Meanwhile, those not in relationships say they'll likely save an average of $110 by skipping the holiday.
Vaccination rates go down and measles cases go up.
Yeah, just ahead, where the most recent outbreak has been reported.
Also, most women say they would prefer a female doctor. Why that's a big challenge when it comes to a critical kind of medical care.
A measles outbreak is spreading in West Texas. State health officials report 24 cases in rural Gaines County, all among unvaccinated residents. Most are children between the ages of 5 and 17. Gaines County has a particularly low vaccination rate compared to the national average. Meantime, a measles case has also been confirmed in Lee County, New Mexico, just across the border there. The unvaccinated teenager reportedly had no known exposure to the Texas outbreak. A new survey highlights how comfortable women feel with female doctors. A national survey by El Camino Health reveals that 59% of women believe female physicians better understand their concerns, symptoms, and experiences. However, finding a female heart specialist can be challenging. Data shows women make up only 17% of cardiologists, the lowest representation among female physicians, despite heart disease being the leading cause of death for women.
If your child is old enough to be online, they are old enough to be a victim of a crime. The FBI is issuing a warning about the rise of what's known as sextortion, where criminals solicit explicit photos from kids, then threaten to publish them unless the kids pay up. WRAL Investigates Sarah Kruger is here now with more on this topic. That's the focus of tonight's report. Sarah.
Renee, this is happening very often. The FBI gets thousands of these reports every single year. I had the rare opportunity to speak with one of the victims who's a student at UNC Chapel Hill.
They got me to, share pictures. Eventually, it got to, the point, like we were sharing stuff with each other, and then they sent me this long message, and it gave me a time limit, if you don't send me $700 within 10 minutes, I will share these pictures that you've sent me with everyone on your following list.
Pretty scary. The FBI says this crime is on the rise, and a pretty recent shift is that teenage boys are the most common targets. An FBI spokesperson explains what to do if you are a victim.
Block that person online. And I know sometimes the instinct is to delete things on your phone. Don't delete the information on your phone. Law enforcement needs that to try to track down who this criminal is and hold them accountable.
And would you say if a child is old enough to have an Instagram account, they're old enough to be a victim?
Unfortunately, these criminals don't care about our children. They are absolutely ruthless, and all they want to do is make money. We've seen children as young as 7 become victims of this crime.
Sextortion is the focus of tonight's WRAL investigation that airs tonight at 6. That UNC student details his experience in the hopes it can prevent future victims. Plus, what features are rolling out on social media sites trying to protect our kids. Renee and Jeff.
Sarah, thanks for that. Old enough to be a victim, old enough to be charged as well for a crime.
What every parent who has school-age children need to watch that to protect your kids.
Dread it, no doubt. Elizabeth Gardner over in the WR Severe Weather Center, dreading these clouds as well and this rain. When does it end?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I do know. It just seems like it goes on and on forever, though, doesn't it? We're still dealing with some drizzle. Notice here in Fayetteville, it looks a little brighter as we look sort of past downtown. There is the possibility that we start to see at least a few holes in the clouds, maybe before sunset, but it's not likely to be widespread clearing. I mean, we were super socked in. This is actually a view of North Hills, or at least an attempt to take a view at North Hills. So lots of low cloud cover, lots of drizzled, chilly temperatures with us. You can see that in Apex. It almost looks like it's still raining, but there's actually nothing still showing up on radar. It's just that heavy drizzle coming down. You can see it's pretty damp here in Chapel Hill too, courtesy of Top of the Hill restaurant. And it's chilly. We have a cold front that's crossing the area. Notice that here we are starting to see a little bit of thinning of the clouds as that front comes through. We are definitely going to start to see some drier air working its way in. It's just how long is it going to take? So this is the best satellite view to look at that. And notice how the other view, it kind of looked like there were some holes in the clouds, but this one definitely looks like we're still pretty well socked in. Notice here in Fayetteville, though, right here at the end of the loop, there's a little bit of a thin spot. That's kind of what we were seeing on the camera there. But I feel like at least for several more hours, if not all the way to sunset, before we see the clouds thinning out. This is Futurecast. Notice the rain is all to our east. It just doesn't pick up on the drizzle that we're seeing. We'll take it all the way out to 7, 8 o'clock. It's going to be like 9 or 10. Here comes the clearing. And with the clearing overnight tonight, it means we're going to be pretty cold. How much rain have we seen over the last 5 days? We talked about this at the beginning of the newscast, but in case you missed it, our southern counties have been a little lighter. So about a half an inch around Fayetteville, a little under that. And then pretty widespread inch totals. That's going to be in the blue shaded area. Here in Raleigh, the purple shaded area is about 1.25 inches, and some of the other purple there, northern Durham County, about 1.5 inches. Those are some of the higher rainfall totals. Officially for the month of February at RDU, we've seen almost 2 inches, and that's almost 1 inch above normal, which is great. It was so dry during December and January. In Fayetteville, we've only seen 1/2 inch, so we're behind by about 3/4 inch. So we haven't seen equitable rainfall, that's for sure. Now, of course, the drought monitor stops intaking data on Tuesday. So most of Tuesday's rain and Wednesday's rain didn't count toward the drought status, and so we're still under abnormally dry conditions. Maybe that'll start to budge a little bit next week, but sometimes it can take quite some time. So we continue with just a tiny chance of some drizzle for this afternoon, even though it feels much worse than that. And then clearing tonight and some bright skies for us on Friday. Saturday, 60% chance. Sunday, a 90% chance of rain. So we have more rain on the way, but it is nice that you won't have to drag out your raincoat or umbrella for your nice Valentine's dinner. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, 45 degrees, and a chilly 37 at 9 o'clock. You may have to bring your winter coat, but you can put away your umbrella until we get to Saturday. Saturday will be cool and wet at 52. Sunday, another front comes through, and ahead of that front, we could climb into the 60s, and then we'll have a chance of some thunderstorms. Then we're back into the 40s for next week, so feeling chilly.
Elizabeth, thanks. Now, earlier we asked you, are you in favor of raising the speed limit to 75 miles per hour on our interstates? And here's what you guys said. A lot of you are still saying no. 61% saying no, 39% giving it a thumbs up.
All right, we're going to continue to collect your answers throughout the day, so share this with your friends. Just scan the QR code on your screen or head to WRAL.com/yourvoice, and you can weigh in on the speed limit. Also, attention spring breakers. You can grab a flight to Florida for less than $40, and we'll tell you how.
And here's a look at your winning Powerball numbers. We'll be right back.
And we wrap things up this noon for you with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today.
Power lines were stretched across Globe Road at Aviation Parkway in Raleigh this morning, leaving more than 2,600 customers without power. This is near RDU. Power was restored at Briar Creek Elementary School, which lost power earlier this morning. Fire officials told WRAL the power lines came down off a 50-foot tower in a wooded area off the road.
Nonprofit Research Arts Institute, RTI International, announced temporary layoffs for 226 employees across the U.S., including 61 people here in North Carolina. The layoffs are due to the ongoing pause on U.S. foreign assistance. RTI International said it's unclear when the positions will return. RTI International was founded in 1958 as Research Triangle Park's anchor tenant. The nonprofit works globally to improve the human condition, they say.
People are coming to Wake County and spending record amounts of money here. That's according to a new report out this morning tracking tourism in the county. Taxes collected for hotel and lodging are up. Prepared food and beverage tax revenue also up. All of that combined produced the highest tax collections on record in 2024, a total of nearly $90 million.
Today, Breeze Airways is launching a new service from RDU to Daytona Beach. The route will operate Thursdays and Sundays. Fares start at $39 one way. That promotion is available when booking a new reservation. You have to buy your ticket by the end of Thursday of next week for travel through April 9th.
Registration is open for two cool activities hosted by the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher. They are holding yoga classes and sip and paint events with the Cape Fear Shoals habitat as the background. Yoga is held every first and third Wednesday of the month through September 17th, and sip and paints are every second and fourth Thursday through September 25th. The 2025 North Carolina Bird Count is just a day away. The annual event is part of the Great Backyard Bird Count. From tomorrow through Monday, everyone is invited to report observations of their local birds directly to the global science platform, eBird. The checklist helps scientists track changes in bird numbers over time. Birders who submit at least 3 checklists on the eBird app can earn an embroidered badge from Science Across North Carolina.
Time now for our pet of the day, and this is Maverick. He's a 2-year-old neutered male dog who was born deaf and blind. He is remarkably adaptable, though. He actually has no idea he's different than any other dog. Maverick relies on smell and touch to find his way around the world. Maverick is very playful, loves other dogs. He's a little cuddle bug, too, and he feels safest when you've got your arm around him, letting him know he is safe in this big, dark, quiet world for him. Maverick's adoption fee is just $2.14 through Valentine's Day, $2.14. And it includes his neuter, microchip, vaccines, and other wellness care. SPCA Wake is also offering free post-adoption behavior training and support from their behavior coordinator who has personal experience with blind and deaf dogs like Maverick. You could be his wingman.
Oh, don't you want to just give him a hug?
Yes.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great Thursday.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.